Hello, friends. This is Carlos from Historias Rockeras, and this is another chapter of Rock Speak. Yeah, Rock Speak is this space where I can train a little bit speaking English, and maybe you guys can listen to a non-native guy speaking a little bit slower, so you can have a mid-term, a middle of the road think about listening to content in English. If you are a metalhead, you would be killing two birds because here we talk about rock, hard rock, metal, and stuff like that. And today, I'm bringing in an old interview that I did with one of the greatest artists ever in metal. I would say he is the greatest. And why do I say that? Max Cavalera is a no-compromise guy. This is a very artful soul. He has been faithful to his art, and he has been the bravest, to put it some way. Not living out nor abandoning, no, but he has had the guts to do steps forward, leaving a legacy of music to build up another legacy. And he has done that more than 5 times, I would say. He was with Sepultura. He founded Sepultura, the Brazilian band. Basically all of us know who they are, Sepultura. And at first he was very trashy and blacky, and then he got into death and speed trash, and then he went into, I don't know, hardcore punk, death metal stuff. And then he got ethnic, and then he fought with his band. And he left, leaving everything. Well, that's the story we heard, right? And then he went into another journey with Soulfully. And then he met his brother again in Cavalera Conspiracy. This is a lifetime of metal music. There's no mellowing here. I would say he's been harder and heavier with time. And he's the best, I have to say. If you know me, you know that I am not that extreme metal fan. But there's something in the music of this master and the attitude, and I don't know. He has something. And I had the chance to interviewing him some time ago, some years ago, when Soulfully was coming to Colombia. And here's the interview. You will forgive my English, of course. And also the sound. We tweaked the sound a little bit, but it's not the best. We have improved. But yeah, this is an older interview. Hopefully it will sound good for you. So yeah, here it is. For you guys who want to listen to some English, here's Max Cavalera from Soulfully, Cavalera Conspiracy, and the founder and main composer of a big chunk of their catalog in Sepultura.
Dear Max, it is a great pleasure to have you here with us. I think you're a true craft master, and I consider you an artist. Also, we can see you are a sensitive person. I like to be personal in the interviews I'm fortunate to do, to explore the person within the music environment. So allow me to ask you the following. I heard in an interview with Ingrid Malmsteen that he said that once you invent something, there's no reason to change. You keep doing what you invented, and that's it. That is something like what he said. And then I come back to you, and I listen to what you did in the first place, putting together thrash and death metal, for example. But after that, you come with something else, going towards hardcore, and then something else with the primitive folk thing you did, and the roots of new metal, and then you come with all this metal evolution in each of your albums. And today we can hear Soulfly even hinting melodic and not non-sound melodic extreme, even black metal, doomy Euro extreme metal. Then I saw this interview of yourself saying when you recorded your albums you weren't thinking in making history, but certainly you were bringing something new. So my question is, what is your approach then? What is it that you do when you create music?
Well, most of it is I just really love creating. You know, it's like it's something that I started doing when I was a kid in Brazil, and it gave me a lot of pleasure and was, you know, we never got into, some other musicians get into rock for girls or for money. You know, we got into for the passion of metal. You know, we just loved what metal gave us back, the energy and just the lifestyle. You know, I live and breathe metal. You know, I love the whole lifestyle. I love the t-shirts, the camouflage pants, the tattoos, and, you know, I like everything about metal. It's, for me, making records has always been like that. You know, it's always like, it is right. I never thought we were making classics and making history when we were making those records. I just want to make a good record. And that's still my philosophy today. When I enter a studio, I just want to make a good album, a powerful album, you know, make some people think and get some ideas together. And, you know, and then what happens to the album after that is not in my control. That's to the fans. The fans is what makes the album popular. And that's why today so many Sepultura albums are popular, Soulfully albums are popular, is the fans made them popular. But really, I just love being in a metal band, and it was my dream as a kid to live for music, and I'm doing that right now. So I'm living the dream right now. So I think it's great.
Max, and the whole evolution. Every time you come with an album, you had something new in the sound, in the styles. You know, that is there a need for you to be evolving musically and artistically every time you come with something new?
Well, I think that's something that I like that myself, and that's what I like about the work with Sepultura. Like the albums where they didn't repeat themselves. You know, you have, you know, from Beneath the Remains, so Arise was different. Arise from Chaos AD was different. Chaos AD for Roots was different. And same with Soulfly. You know, the early Soulfly was more tribal. You know, and then it got more trash in the middle. Soulfly 3 and Prophecy were more thrash metal, and then Enslaved were more death metal. Archangel is more, almost, there's some black metal even influence. So, you know, I love that. I love that there's no rules. You make your own rules, and for me as a creative person, it gives me excitement to say, what can I make next that I haven't not done before? What can I make new? You know, and sometimes the new is really sometimes only is just going back to the past. Yeah. You know. So
back to
so if I go back, if I go back to, you know, make a very close to black metal album, which I think it might be a cool thing to do. So go back to Morbid Visions kind of style, you know, and make something new out of that again, you know. So you can do that too. So it's so cool that it's so open, you know. Like for me, there's no rules in metal, and you can make your own rules. And I think that's how I live my life, you know. Like for me, there is no rules in metal. You make your own ideas. You make your own what you want to make with it. It's up to you, and you change people's conception. You change people's vision of something. I remember when we did the Roots, the label did not like the name. They thought it sounded like a reggae compilation, you know. And I told them, "Don't worry." I said, after Sepultura Roots, the word Roots is going to be connected to metal, and now it's so connected. We have programs in radio called Roots of this, and other bands using the word Roots. Roots is a metal word. It's connected to metal now, and I think you have to have the vision. You have to look at something and say, okay, this is going to change people's mind after you do it. You know, you have to have the courage to do it, and then have the patience and the vision to see something happen that has not happened yet. You know, so I think it's all part of it. But I feel very excited to make records. For me, every album is a chance to do something that I never done before.
Max, Did you invented new metal?
No, I don't think so. You know, like because I think what I do is metal. You know, no matter what, it's still it comes from heavy metal, and it comes from Black Sabbath and all the originators. You know, and you know Deep Purple and even Led Zeppelin. I think were kind of a heavy metal band.
Yeah, but let me interrupt you here. I'm sorry. When we heard Roots several months later, or maybe 1 year later, this band called Korn came.
Yeah, it was, you know, it was at the same time, and you know, it was like, you know, you know, I don't know, like we were connected at that time with a little bit with the movement with some of these bands, Deftones, which I still very much like today, you know, and but I did not like where the direction that the new metal went. You know, after that it became like after Limp Bizkit went into Linkin Park and then got just so pop.
Yeah.
You know, that was, for me, that was not metal anymore, you know, so I needed metal, so that's why when I went into Soulfully 3, which was our third album, I went all on thrash metal, you know, that was like Destroyed, Last of the Mohicans. Yeah, it was like, nah, man, you know, that shit's not metal, this is metal, you know. So, for me, it was important to do that.
All right, Max, you said about the guitar that it is not your main thing, that you are more, yes, a creator, a composer, an inventor of songs. My question is, have you helped other bands or act with your songs in their albums? For example, in the way Lenny helped Ozzy to finish No More Tears or Osmosis?
Well, I try to. I like collaboration. You know, I did some songs on the Malakesh album and Acacia Strain, you know, and I did the Probot with Dave Grohl. That was great. And on my own albums, I have a lot of guests, you know, Tom Araya and Chino from the Deftones, and, you know, we have David Vincent from Morbid Angel, and so many people, you know, from all different, you know, we have Roger from Agnostic Front on Cavalera.
But you haven't been a ghost writer. Let me to be direct here. Have you?
No, I don't think I've done that yet. No. So, you know, there's always time.
All right. I've heard from an interview that you think metal comes from aggression. You said you were very poor and you were pissed and had a lot of things to say. Was it ironic that your initial fan base was in Europe within a comfort environment? What kind of aggression do you think they had from? What was the meeting point? Where is the meeting point of you living hardship with people who hardly will ever hint it? What is the connection there in the aggression?
I think that just the music itself, man. You know, this music connects people, and you know, I don't think you need to come from a poor place to like metal. You know, I think you can come from a rich family and like metal, and actually, you know, you're gonna go against your parents for maybe, you know, kind of like react against them for being rich, and because of that you like metal, so you piss off your parents, and they probably not gonna like that. So a lot of times that's the case. For me, you know, we did come from poor. We're so broke. There's some videos of us on the YouTube. We cannot even afford a soda, you know. It's like I had to drink tap water, you know. You know, so we were very, very. We didn't have any money, but we turned nothing into something. I think that's the coolest thing that you can do. That you can do with metal is you turn zero into something. You know, you have nothing, but you do something with that nothing. You know, you create something and make that into your own thing. And I think that's the best part about about the aggression. I think it's more about the adrenaline of this music, because when I play live and I see things like circle pits and the crowd just going crazy, it's such a rush for me. It's like it's an adrenaline rush, and I feed off from that. I totally feed off from that, and I can't wait for the next concert when I get to see that again. And metal is the only music that has stuff like that. You know, you don't see that on any other kinds of music. They don't have circle pits and shit like that. You know, so I think we are very, very lucky. We have a music that we have our own thing, our own identity, and our own things that are very just us. It's just only us in metal have that. So I think that's something to be proud of it.
Max, what difference would you point out from the heavy metal done by Iron Maiden and that one made by Metallica?
You know, A lot of it is coming from the same place. They all learn from Black Sabbath, but you can hear in Iron Maiden more like Deep Purple influences. And I'm a big Maiden fan myself, and I love all the Maiden records, and I think it's fantastic what they did, especially guitar work and some of the awesome songs they create. And Metallica came in a very special time. I think also there was the birth of thrash, which I think was a movement that changed the whole music industry. And I think for me, I think Motorhead was the inventor of that. Even though Lemmy did not like that he was the godfather of thrash, I think he was, and I think stuff like Ace of Spades and Iron Fist were the blueprints for thrash metal.
All right. You said, well, in your albums, you're always dedicated to God. What is that? Are you a religious person? What is the motivation for that?
Yeah, I think it's like I'm very spiritual. I think I'm a spiritual person, but that kind of came from nowhere. It's a little bit like the beginning of Soulfully was a hard time for me, and
yeah.
For me, so I dedicate the album to God for giving me strength to make it through, and he saw me through it, and we survived that, survived the split up from Sepultura, because a lot of musicians cannot make it another band after having been in a successful band,
Yeah.
So for me, it was kind of like that reason to, and I think, in a metal world which is so kind of anti-God, I thought that was kind of punk to have dedicated the albums to God. It was like, it's kind of making a statement a little bit, but I'm not like, religious freak,
You said that you've been 8 years clean from your drug abuse, and you've been open about it. We also know that you're a family man, and that your children are part of the metal world. Did or does your experience gave you and your wife insight about the issue in their formation? And if you have something to share about it to your fans, what would it be?
Yeah, they help a lot. Having a family base that supports you, love you. It's always like, my wife is great. We work together, and I'm so proud of the kids doing their bands. And Zion and Igor got Lodi Kong, and Rich is having Insight, and they're all doing good. We have a full-on metal family, and I was really, I always just being extreme, and so I was like drinking a lot and taking a lot of drugs, which for me was a little bit interfering with the music, and for me was a time to stop and think about it, and have a kind of a thinking like, okay, do I want to leave or do I want to die? And because of drugs and alcohol, die, and do nothing, or should I make something out of music? And I just give up those things and stay with music. So it was a clear choice for me. It was just like, okay, I'd rather leave. I'd rather, maybe go straight edge and do nothing and continue my music career. For me, it was more important than party. And plus, I did enough. I drink and took enough drugs for a lifetime, so I didn't have to do it anymore.
All right.
Okay. Thank you, man. Nice talk to you.
The same, Max. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Well, this was Max Cavalera himself, the great craft master of metal. Yeah, what can I say? I hope you enjoyed this interview. I really love spreading this material so I can practice a little bit. And maybe, yeah, if you want to learn English and you want to listen to some content that is not that difficult to hear, middle of the road point, I'm here for you guys. So, see you soon, or hear you soon in the next Rockspeak chapter. My name is Carlos Oñoro, and you can find me in Twitter and social networks as Carlos Oñoro or Honorosaurus Rex. All right, have a great one.